Hey guys, this is Collin Moshman for CardRunners.com. In today's quickie, we have every hand played and a $15 9-man turbo Siningo played on PokerStars. First hand, Ace-Jack is a clear open here, and I would open down to approximately 6s, Ace-10, Ace-7 suited, Jack-10 suited, and Queen-Jack offsuit. And 75 or 90 are both fine on the sizing front. Pocket kings we're definitely going to open, usually when I'm sub 30 blinds deep by 2.5x instead of 3x. But here's 3x is no problem. We c-bet now. Checking back and c-betting are both going to be reasonable options here. Usually the key thing though is that we want to check back one street, so we can either check back the flop or check back the turn and then evaluate on the river. So here's decision to c-bet's definitely reasonable. When villain check calls, his stats are going to be key, and a lot of guys have put them on a range of ace-x hands, some flush draws, but with the ace of hearts and king of hearts accounted for, it's really going to lessen the number of heart draw combos, mainly hands like Queen-Jack suited, 10-9 suited sets, and if he has very loose stats, then we're going to add in other hands like Queen-Jack with the Jack of Hearts, where he's basically just kind of randomly calling out of position without much of a clear game plan. So any turn besides the king, we're going to check back, including one where we pick up a draw. So we can check back here, and then we'll check back most rivers unimproved as well, and call any reasonable size bet. Instead, he shoves. And generally this is just going to be a fold. Any flush draw, set, or ace-x hand now has us beat. So the only time we really call here is if he has extremely loose stats and we put him on a very wide range for check calling the flop. But unless we have that read, I like here his decision to fold. Now if he sized something more like 300, then calling would be a lot more reasonable. But I would usually not stack off in this spot. Okay, in our next hand, Hero has 5s. He's lost some chips from the previous hand. This is going to be a clear shove with any pair. And then also shove any suited ace, most offsuit aces, any Broadway hand, 8-7 suited plus, so pretty wide range there. Mid-suited kings. And Hero manages to win a 2-1 favorite and double back up. Next hand we play Ace-10 offsuit in the cutoff. So 7 blinds cutoff, we have a clear shove with the Ace-10, and Hero takes it down. Move on to 10-9 offsuit in the small blind, and this is an interesting spot. We're definitely going to shove here with the 10-9 offsuit, and we're going to shove tighter than normal for 4 blinds, blind on blind, because of the fact it's a bubble, but not dramatically tighter because we are the shortest stack. So if we pull this hand up in the Hold'em Resources Nash downloadable, we get a reasonable range for Hero to shove. And notice that does include down to 10-7 offsuit. So usually not going to be shoving ATC here, but a range of about top 60%. And here it does in fact go ahead and make the correct shove and wins the flip. Clear shove with the Ace-King suited and takes it down. And we skip ahead a few hands and get to Queen-10 offsuit. Bottom of our shoving range here is going to be approximately deuces, Ace-Deuce suited, Ace-7 offsuit, Jack-10 suited, and Queen-10 off. So a reasonable shove here, and Hero takes it uncontested. And another shove with the Ace-10 offsuit. A couple hands later, we get King-Queen suited in the small blind, and now there's a more significant ICM effect with the button being the shortest stack. So relative to, say, a chip EV range or earlier in the 9-man, that's definitely going to leave us with a tighter open shoving range. Let's go ahead and look at this one, also a Nash. And of course the King-Queen suited is going to be a good shove, which Hero makes. At the full Nash range here is going to be under 50% of hands. Now what's interesting about this is that because of this bubble dynamic, we're not going to shove a lot of hands that we might otherwise take it for granted. Our shoves, we're a little bit over 10 blinds, blind on blind, but there is the ante, so effectively that makes the ante-adjusted stack in big blinds a little bit shorter. So hands like King-Deuce offsuit are no longer shoves, and this big blind calling range does look reasonable for a lot of player types, because regs who may have studied it, but also for unknowns, if they are normally calling blind on blind in spots like this a little bit too tight, then that natural inclination is going to coincide well with this kind of situation, because in the Nash range, because of the fact that hero is tighter in this situation, the big blind should also be tighter with this calling range, and a lot of recreational players might kind of backdoor into the correct range as a result of those factors. So down to king deuce suited, king 7 off, and here shoves and takes it down.